Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 435. This one, sadly, we're only talking about 2 episodes, and this was not pre-planned. I was hoping to do a little bit more than this, and here's the reason why. An anime that was going to debut next week I was looking forward to watching, decided to debut a week early. I do not know why the World Crunchyroll did this for, but they did. So yeah, I have an anime to watch today. 2 episodes of it. I'll watch it in a bit. So in these 2 episodes here for ToQger. In episode 16, we begin pretty much where we left off last episode, where Schwartz took Hammer Shadow. Yes, he took Hammer Shadow. Because he uses power for a particular device. And I just realized, though, basically when I finish this one, I'll have like 4 more left to go for the 2010s. Yeah, 4 left. That the Dodger, Zoologer, Lupin Ranger vs. Panther Ranger, and Rare Soldier. Yep, those are only 4 left to go after this. So, basically in these 2 episodes, we'll continue using Hammer Shadow, who was Miss Greta's shadow. Yes. Which after this, like I said, it's in the last episode, she only has about 3 more shadows left, and their shadows are done. Schwartz gets his own shadow in episode 17. He only has 1 the entire series. Yeah, freaking 1. So, pretty much in the way, here's what happens. So, Schwartz's plan is to create more darkness by transforming his Dark Langer into a dreamland and using Hammer Shadow to basically stop people's dreams and get more darkness. That's his plan. And by the way, he's the only member of the Shadow Line that appears in this episode. All the rest are absent, because this happens directly in the next episode. We also have the subplot of this little boy who basically is imagining he's flying a plane, riding down a slide. His little sister wants to go hang out with her friends, but she can't because she watched her brother. Because I think she mentioned her parents died, so... And then, of course, basically, Schwartz uses some device to brainwash a group of children, which happens to include the girl's little brother, onto this train, and into ToQger, and of course he jumps with ToQger on the train. And basically, Pink and Blue get knocked out, while the other 3 get dumped straight into Dreamland. Also, he's eating like crazy for this whole episode. So, then of course, basically, Hammer Shadow is strapped in the device, and when the kids are basically at a certain point, they go in the room and then their dreams are stomped out by Hammer Shadow. And despite the fact that in the episode they do in fact break free, this whole thing with the one-shot character, or she unlocks her own imagination, she's able to see the trains. So then of course they use the police train they just got in just 2 episodes ago. Yeah, just 2 episodes prior to this. And of course, they break into the train. The other Rangers are free by having imagining Kagura using a fan to bop these 3 out of their snooper. And they defend off Schwartz and, of course, beat the Hair Monster. But the big thing in this episode is that we debut the Morpher for the 6th Ranger, which will debut the very next episode, which is like right now. So, by the way, in this episode, Miss Greta, Baron Nero, Madame Noir, and Emperor Zed all return to this episode after all taking a one-episode break. Yes, and about for one episode, and of course Nero's like, about shiny stuff, and of course like why you ship shiny stuff, and he's upset about Noir for not getting enough shiny stuff because the only thing shiny is Miss Greta's eyes. Miss Greta basically just worried about the Emperor, and we see Schwartz is looking at her, and then he's informed one of his subordinates is alive. Meanwhile, ToQgers have to make a stop at this place for a railroad inspection. Yes, a railroad inspection, which these people who basically inspect the railroad, which this is from what I have seen, this is a legit job. Yes, he just uses hammer to check the tracks are good in this area, and then like all good. But it turns out this railroad inspector, it turns out he used to be a former Shadow, who just basically became a good guy because he regrets ruin people's days by causing a lot of rain. Yep. So we want to expect the rainbow, and kind of in a way when of course that Wright sees him, and of course they find out about the Sixth Ranger stuff. He's like, ooh, he'd be a perfect choice for Sixth Ranger because he's a brand new character. He eventually does, but in the episode, of course, they found out his little story here. Also, he's constantly seen this one area where it's raining on him, but no other place because of Shadow power. And Wright gets soaking wet. I'm surprised he doesn't catch pneumonia because of it, or he's catch a cold. So, in the end, he does become excellent convincing, and of course, hearing his backstory. And of course, Baron Schwartz. He's technically a new Shadow we debut here, but he's also becoming the Sixth Ranger of the episode. He just morphs, battles Schwartz, and starts something that he will continue on for the rest of the series. When I read, where he basically thinks he's going to be the last, but I think he's going to die, and he's still alive. And he wants to die purely because he used to be a Shadow. Yes. And by the end of the episode, he gets back the Morpher and the train device to Wright and in the episode. He's an okay character. He just, of course, Wright just, hey, you want to follow this? I guess he said yes. So he's given, because apparently he's a former Shadow, he's now allowed to set foot on the trains. I'm like, that's interesting. But I'll find out more next episode. Yeah. So, not much to say these episodes. I like these episodes. I would say 17 is more interesting than 16. 16 I think was terrible per se. It just wasn't good as 17. So, next up is going to be, well, I'll talk about that in the next video. So, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you next video. Bye.